that being said, we are moving into spoilers now. So if you're still here, be prepared for spoilers. Don't complain. You've been warned a few times now. Right, so where do we begin? Well, let's begin from the beginning, of course. That's how you normally begin a movie. The movie opens up in the farmhouse. No, scratch that. The movie opens up at the mines. If you've seen the trailer, you know pretty much what the mines are. Kind of thing. The eagle. It's not eagle. It's Ivor Spence. You basically, if you know Ghostbusters, you know what I'm talking about. It's the guy that built the Dana's apartment in Ghostbusters 1. He's the guy that's done in the mines, kind of thing. It opens up with the cloud, basically the typical Hollywood doomsday kind of thing, where everything's a portal's open in the sky kind of thing above this mine / volcano looking thing, and next to me all you see is the Ghostbusters neutron one beam, the zap being the catcher stream, going to the sky, and next minute the cloud disappears, and all you see is this van go speeding out of the mine as fast as possible with a guy driving in the car. At the time, you're not understand who it is, but you soon realise that's supposed to be Egon Spengler in his old age, driving along as fast as he can, and next minute this invisible thing is chasing him. Again, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, you know what it is. It's a Teledog. It's one of the Ghostbusters minions, either the gatekeeper or the keymaster. It's one of the two chasing Egon, and then it cuts to the guy Egon driving the van as fast as he can, trying to get back to his house, the farmhouse that you see in the trailers, anything. And it cuts to him in the car, and you can see he's got a trap, and you can tell it's a Ghostbuster trap because it's blinking and everything, and it's like flashing on and off kind of thing, and you can tell there's a ghost catched inside. Assumably, either the gatekeeper or the keymaster, the opposite of whichever one's chasing him at the time, because unfortunately, unless told otherwise, I can never tell which two dogs are the difference, because there's both Teledogs, so you can't really tell them apart until one says, I am the keymaster, I am the gatekeeper. So, like I said, he's got one of them, and the other one's chasing him, trying to get it free, so ghosts are going to be resurrected and brought back into the dimension, kind of thing. It cuts to Egon making it to the house, and he's basically decked out his farmhouse like a giant, massive ghost trap. It is decked to go with traps all hidden in the dirt and everything, and it cuts to him trying to activate it, and when he presses the button, you see it all activating. Like, oh great, he's going to capture the ghost, kind of thing, and then all of a sudden it short-circuits it and it doesn't work. So he rushes into the house, panics, gets his PKE meter and everything to try and find where this ghost is, shuts all the doors and sits on a chair. Now, I didn't realise this at the time. Someone pointed this out to me afterwards, that the chair he's sitting on is underneath a metal plate. I didn't realise that. I was too busy focusing on everything else that was going on, trying to pinpoint. But he sits on the chair and he basically waits for this Teledog to come in the house, which it does. It comes in through the chimney, all smoky. Again, you've seen it. There's a glimpse of it in one of the trailers, so it's not something new if you haven't been keeping up with the trailers. But again, you see it coming, you see it manifest, about to attack him from behind, and then it disappears. And then you got Egon there, sitting on the chair, patiently waiting. And then all of a sudden, if you remember Ghostbusters 1, when Dana Barrett gets possessed and the hands come through the thing, basically that happens, and then it cuts to a spirit leaving the farmhouse, going all the way back to the mines, and then that's it. And then we get we don't get any opening credits actually. It goes straight to the next scene, kind of thing, if I remember right. So I'm trying to do this off memory. Even though I only just watched it today, it's scary how much you forget, kind of thing, instantly. So it cuts to the new It cuts to Egon's family. His daughter, the two kids, and everything. I mean, they don't say where they're moving at the time, but it's in a city, kind of apartment. It's in an apartment building. They're way overdue with their debts and bills and stuff to the point where they're about to be evicted. They've been told that Egon's dead now, that her dad's just died, kind of thing. So they're about to pack up and go to the farmhouse to pick up all his belongings and basically pick up any inheritance that he's left them. Or basically, she's that desperate that she's pretty much after any types of like money or items she could sell off to make money to pay bills and look after the family, kind of thing. The father's not in the picture, so it's just basically her and her two children. And this is where we get introduced to the two new casts. I cannot remember the older brother's name. That's bad because he didn't really make an impression on me. I'm not saying he's a bad character or anything. It's just compared to Phoebe, who's basically Egon Jr., pretty much. He didn't do much. Not saying he was a bad character. It's like, you'll understand when you watch the film, Phoebe's the star of this film, which is great, but it's mainly Phoebe. And like I said, Phoebe's the scientist. There's a scene where she's trying to hook up all the power in the apartment to save electric, kind of thing, and she's basically ripped the sockets in the wall and hooked it up to all these. It's weird, but it makes sense for her type of character, kind of thing. And like I said, it cuts and it goes from that scene to where they've been, they've been evicted. She's begging to the manager, the landlord, saying, "Give me a week. I'm going to my dad's old house to pick up. He's just died, and once I've sorted my arrears there, kind of thing, you'll get paid." And he's like, "No, not having it. When you guys go, I'm changing the locks. Goodbye." What not. So it cuts to them driving to this town and everything. Again, then I forgot what the name's called of the town. It's like, even though, again, I've just watched this film, but I'm bad with names and stuff and places, so unless it really sticks to my head, kind of thing, it goes on. But again, it's in the trailer, nothing special. It's a town that basically, it's known for nothing. It's like the dump kind of thing, in middle of nowhere type of town. It's a town where it's not on any mines or anything yet. The place is shaking constantly, which again, you find out later why, but again, watch the trailer, you kind of got the gist of the story, kind of thing, and what's going on. But it cuts to them going to the town. As I say, it cuts to them going to the town and everything. So they're in the town, the older brother, they stop at this restaurant kind of thing. The older brother sees a girl that he likes, which we're ready to find out is called Lucky, who becomes the last member of the Ghostbusters. In the end, again, not much spoilers. If you saw the toy line, you know who the 4 new Ghostbusters are, kind of thing. It's the kids. Again, so he tries to hit it off with her, strikes out, nervous and everything. Cuts to them going to the house and everything, realising that it's the dump. There's signs outside quoting the phrase that Winston and Ray talk about in Ghostbusters 1 about the end of days. The chapter in the Bible that they talk about in that one scene, and it's, for some reason, it's spray painted on these signs outside Egon's this farmhouse, kind of thing, saying the end is now and whatnot. So they get into the house. The house is pretty much your typical, most haunted looking type of estate and everything. You can tell it's all scientific as well, because there's satellites and discs and basically everything metal on top of the roof you can imagine. And there's like traps and stuff. Yeah, traps are in the dirt. The actual ghost traps are in the dirt, but basically there's gizmos and everything around the house, so Egon could detect if anyone's about to approach the house, kind of thing. So they go in the house, they start looking around and everything, and like I said, an earthquake happens, so they get underneath the table, panicking. It quickly disappears and whatnot, and like I said, everything seems normal as it does, and whatnot. Nothing spooky or anything strange going on, whatnot. And then all of a sudden, it cuts to Phoebe's first day at school, kind of thing, and like I said, she's the outcast and whatnot. The teacher is, the mom meets the teacher, who's played by Ant-Man, kind of thing. Again, I can't think of the guy's name at the top of my head, but he's played by Ant-Man. It's summer schools, and the kids are not really paying attention, so he basically gets an old VHS tape of what's that dog now? Cujo, is it? I've never watched it myself, but it's a classic kind of thing. So he puts that on. Phoebe gets bored, realises when an earthquake happens again in the school, in the town, realises that the teacher is into earthquakes and measures them and stuff, because he's got like an earthquake measurer in the back, and they start talking science stuff. And this is where he realises that Phoebe's not just a normal, typical girl or student. She's quite smart, kind of thing. So they talk about the quakes and everything, how it's unusual and everything. And then it cuts to basically them going back to the house, Phoebe going back home and everything after meeting a new friend called Podcast. And he calls himself Podcast because he's got a podcast. So they become friends, and they go back to Phoebe's house. He stays outside the fence and everything, and she goes back to the house, and then a quake happens, and all this stuff falls down. And what falls down is this like chess piece. So she puts it all back together and puts it on the bed. At this point, she's found the PK meter. I forgot to mention that she's found that, and it's been going off every now and again, hinting that there's a ghost in the house. Now, you don't see the ghost or anything, but there's a spirit in the house, kind of thing. So she goes to bed and everything, wakes up the next morning, and the chess piece that she's put perfectly back together, a piece has moved, which she finds odd. So she moves the opposite. She basically plays a game of chess. And she moves the piece and everything and leaves it. She goes off and does everything. Nothing really happens to that. But the next time, you'll see that she moved the pawn. The opponent moved a pawn or two. And then it's her turn. She makes a move. And then basically they're playing a game of chess. And later on in that night, she realises that the spirit's there, kind of thing, because it's moving the chess pieces. And the spirit guides her all the way downstairs to where the ghost trap is, where Egon hid the ghost trap at the start of the film, which I forgot to mention, by the way, before he sat on the chair and got possessed and everything. Well, not possessed, but basically what happens in the beginning, he hides the ghost trap. So she does the puzzle, which you see in the trailer, finds the ghost trap. It's still active. There's a ghost inside, of course. She doesn't know what it is. We know as fans know what it is, and viewers at the start, because we saw the beginning. It's one of the terror dogs, gatekeeper or the keymaster. It's one of them. It's trapped inside, kind of thing. I can't remember. The spirit also guides her down to the basement, where you see all Egon's old stuff. The proton pack's on the thing. It's busted. It's missing some parts, but again, this spirit's guiding her how to fix the pack and everything. And like I said, she takes the next day. She takes the ghost trap to school. Podcast looks at it and goes, "Wow, this is really cool." The teacher sees it and he goes, "Wow, that's a really cool replica." Turns out it's not a replica. He shows them the New York in the 80s. Where, if you remember, you see the first scene where they're going to Dana's apartment and everything, and he tells them about the Ghostbusters, and he's like, I'm sure someone must have told you. And they went, no, this happened 20 years before we were born, kind of thing. And obviously, Phoebe's mom hasn't mentioned about her dad, Phoebe's grandfather, dad, kind of thing, because they're not on speaking terms and whatnot. So at the end of the day, they decide, okay, does this trap have any power? What's inside? So they hook it up to, again, it's in the trailer, so they hook it up to the school bus, activate it, opens the trap, unleashes the terror dog. Terror dog spirit goes all the way back to the mansion and makes a crack in the gateway of the mansion. And mansion? And the mines. I don't know why I said mansion, but the mines, basically. Opening a crack into the doorway and letting spooks and spectres and all kinds of things out slowly and whatnot. And like I said, they think nothing of it. Cutting back to Phoebe finding the proton pack, she fixed it up and everything and whatnot. And basically they do like podcast, and Phoebe start testing the proton pack and having fun. Them on the field. Again, you can see this on YouTube. They're testing the proton pack, they turn it on, you can tell it's all old, it's making old sounds, but it makes the Ghostbusters feed sounds as well, so it's like familiar but old kind of thing. She tests it, she pretty rates this testing thing that they've got, kind of thing, and then they start hearing noises. Turns out there's a ghost in the barn. Not the barn, the barn their granddad is. This is further out, they'll go somewhere else. But they go into this like metal building place, and this ghost, the new blue ghost Muncher, is basically just eating all the metal. And they have a moment where they try and catch it, but they fail and it escapes and everything. And they start chasing it, but they've got no transport. At this point, the older brother's found the Ecto-1 and he's trying to fix it up because he wants a car to impress the girl. And the Ecto-1 is the only car that seems to be running. It just needs a bit of fix. So he's fixed it. He's doing a joyride in the cornfield. And then it cuts to him driving down the road, and you see Phoebe and Podcast walking down the street. He picks them up. And then that's where Phoebe starts telling about the Ghostbusters and everything, and that's when they find out that the Ecto-1's got a gunner seat and whatnot, and decide, okay, we're going to go and try and get this ghost Muncher. So they're driving to town, trying to find evidence of this ghost, even though they are really blind, because if you're careful, there's like signposts being half-eaten and whatnot, but for some reason they don't notice this. We as audience are like going, sign here, but they don't notice it, and then they encounter Muncher eating her hose pipe and the fire extinguisher thing in New York. They have, like I said, I'm in the UK, so we don't have those type of things, but he's munching on one of them. So they try and catch him. He attacks them and everything. They don't catch him that point. They catch him later on, but like I said, he frees, and then it cuts to him trying to get to the mines. It's getting dark at this point, and they finally do catch him using the new ghost trap radio remote control kind of thing, which again, if you saw the trailer, you know what it looks like, and I think it's really cool. So you got it's got like remote controls, and you got Podcast trying to finger, you got the brother trying to catch up, and you got Phoebe in the gunner seat basically shooting this ghost, and it's absolutely fantastic. And typical Ghostbuster fashion, they're driving down the street, destroying as much as they possibly can with the photon beams, and everybody's just blasting everything. Ghost is going in and out everywhere. It's absolutely fantastic. If you ever want to see the Ecto-1 basically in a speed chase ghost busting moment, watch this film, because it's absolutely fantastic. Like I said, they catch the ghost and everything, but as typical, they get arrested because, again, they're driving around the city. The brother hasn't got a license. He's not old enough to drive, but again, typical. So they get arrested. Parents find out. Mother finds out. Goes ballistic. As you can see, they keep all the Ghostbuster tools. They start dissing at Phoebe's grandfather because everyone in town calls him the dirt guy, the dirt farmer, they call him, kind of thing, because he's got this land and he doesn't grow anything, it's just covered in dirt, kind of thing. So that pisses Phoebe off a bit and whatnot. And it's the stuff like that. And then it cuts to basically, after that bit, they explain to the brother what's going on, and the girl they basically try to hit on is also the dad of the cop. Father's the sheriff of the town, I guess. So she saw him in prison, in jail, and like I said, listened to some of the stuff they were saying. So they all go to the mines, the Sandor mine, kind of thing, and they go basically deeper down into the mine, and that's where you find out there's this massive temple all designated to spiritual god friend Gozer. And obviously with Gozer, you have the gatekeeper and the keymaster and everything. And they go down there, and I knew this straight off, even before the reveal of who it was. There's a body. There's like all these temple rooms where people have sacrificed to Gozer, kind of thing. And there's this one coffin that's absolutely preserved, and there's a body in there. And I knew before he even cuts to who it is that would be evil Spangler. The guy, basically the guy who built the mine, the guy that built Dana's apartment, the guy that worshipped goes into hell. Again, if you're a fan of Ghostbusters, you know what I'm talking about. Igor Sandor. Sorry, I'm butchering it, but again, you know what I'm talking about. And for some reason, he's dead. Like he's in this like hypermate. I can't say the word. He's basically in deep sleep, like in an alien film kind of thing, but he's also dead at the same time because there's no way in hell he's alive in that condition. And like I said, every now and again, there's a massive hole at the bottom of the mine, and spirits are coming up, and they get so far, and then you see 4 beams of the Ghostbuster gun shoot straight down. Egon's basically built like 4 proton pack pillars that shoot must be on springs or motion detectors or something, because as soon as it gets to a certain amount, it just shoots straight down and basically puts them back down again. And and then you look at the side of the wall, and there's numbers, dates, and it's like a calendar counting down of all important events. Some events that they do mention in the film, but I can't remember. But then it goes to 1984. Now, if you know 1984, that was the original Dana apartment incident when New York got attacked. Then it puts to then the next one is 2021, which is where this film takes place, kind of thing. So it's counting down. So each time it goes to this time, it's basically when Goals is trying to get back into the dimension, or something's going to happen, kind of thing. Like they don't really explain what, but it's basically like it's his gateway to try and get back into the world and conquer, kind of thing. And that's what Egon predicted. Egon found this out, and that's why he went here. That's why he picked up everything and left and whatnot. What I forgot to mention, while they're molested, Phoebe phones the Ghostbusters because she's been watching the old Ghostbuster commercial and the number at the bottom. So she wrote it down and she calls it, and it goes to his book apartment. If you watch Ghostbusters 2, you know he had a book apartment and bookshop kind of thing. And it goes to them, and she speaks to Ray, and you find out a bit more backstory of what happened to the Ghostbusters, that Egon took everything, their friendship broke up because of it, because he just, to them, they felt like he's mad, just went mad, the business went under because they did too good of a job catching the ghosts and whatnot. And like you get a bit more backstory of what's happened to the Ghostbusters in that time frame. And Phoebe mentions to Ray that she's the granddaughter of Egon, and then gets cut off by the police officer and everything, and you don't find out what Ray does, but again, Ray's a bit shocked at the end how the call goes, and I'm guessing he's a bit worried. So again, going back to the mine and everything and whatnot, as I was saying, then back deeper in the mines, and like I said, to figure out that Gozer is about to resurrect and everything, just like, you know, what I just said previously. So they go back to the house and start coming up with a plan. And at this point, no, before they go back to the house, sorry, my apologies. A spirit leaves the mine. It's the other gatekeeper and everything. And like I said, goes into the mine and starts making effort. While this is happening, we cut to Walmart, and Ant-Man is in there. And like I said, if you've been nosing around for this film, you've seen this quip. It's not much of a spoiler, but you've seen it. It's basically get introduced to the vehicle mascots of the movie, the mini marshmallow men. And like I said, you see them all burning each other. They are very sadistic, these equal Marshmallow Men. Funny, don't among that scene is absolutely hilarious, but it's just like you got these sentient marshmallows killing each other and causing havoc in Walmart. If you've been, again, don't live in New York, but what I've seen and what I've heard about Walmart is basically it's a Tuesday. That's an every Tuesday. You know, the place is messed up. So these sequel minions of goals are really doesn't make much of a difference basically. But anyway, he's there seeing all this chaos going on. You know, not getting attacked, but we basically it cuts to all of them like causing chaos. He turns one of the holes and lo and behold, hello Terror Dog is eating dog food, like bags and bags of dog food. Doesn't notice him at first, but then the minions of goals and make noise, and he basically pops his head out of the doggy bag. He looks at Ant-Man and goes, "Hello, vessel that I'm going to possess," and basically starts chasing him through the mall. Again, if you've seen the trailer, you kind of already know that was going to happen. One thing that absolutely made me completely burst out laughing in that scene is at the beginning of that scene, Ant-Man, again, I don't know his real name, so I'm sorry, I'll just know him as Ant-Man, has a tub of ice cream. That's why he was there, he was buying ice cream, you know, and whatnot. Literally chucks it, and as he chucks it, it basically bounces off. It's the Terror Dog straight in the head, and I was like, the accuracy that you've just chucked that in clear terror, fantastic. But it was just funny because it was just basically just bops him in the head, does nothing, absolutely nothing. But it was just one of those moments where I was like, oh, that's awesome. It's like boom, right off. It's like just knocked off his head, kind of thing. So that pisses off the Terror Dog even more, as you can imagine. It chases him down basically through the supermarket. He gets out the supermarket. It basically bursts through the door as you expect, chases him down, tries to get into his car. Now, I found this part very, very, very weird. He dives through his windscreen into his car. His car has no windscreen. So he's that bloke of a teacher, he can't afford a windscreen for his car. He dives straight in, gets into his seat, trying to think. The Terror Dog literally jumps on top of the bonnet, bursts the tyres, and it cuts to him and the Terror Dog on the bonnet of the car. Cuts to him in the car, and the Terror Dog just basically there, and then it cuts to black. Kind of gathered what's happened. He's now possessed. He's now, if I remember right, he's now the Keymaster, kind of thing, or the Gatekeeper. He's basically the one Tully was in Ghostbusters 1. You know, the full one, kind of thing. Cuts back to the mine. The kids figure out a plan what they're gonna do to the mine. They've got to finish what the original Ghostbusters started, kind of thing. They about to go back into the house. Another spirit shoots off and goes straight to the house and possesses the mom. Like I said, at this point, the mom's figured out the basement, kind of thing. Egon's spirit. Spoilers, by the way, it's Egon's spirit that's the ghost that's in the house. But again, it is obvious. I just realised I spoiled that. But again, it's Egon's spirit that's guiding Phoebe and the family around the house, kind of thing. Goes into the house, and this is where the daughter realises that basically her dad hasn't abandoned her. He left for good reasons because he's trying to save her from this hellhole of Gozer and everything, and he's been keeping an eye on her all out of life because there's a massive montage of photos of her from the day she was born, from the day she did all this to the day her children were born. He's been keeping tabs. He hasn't been in her life properly, but he's been keeping tabs of his daughter to the point she gets emotional because he's like, oh, my dad did love me, but he had to do this. She's starting to understand why her dad wasn't around, kind of thing. Just as she does that, the Terror Dog's in there and it possesses her, and she becomes basically the Gatekeeper or the Keymaster. Again, I can't remember which one. She basically becomes the one that Dana Barrett does in the original. And like I said, obviously she's on the mission to hunt for the Gatekeeper, and the Keymaster's on the mission to find, they're on the mission to find each other. The kids get back to the house, and the mom's sitting in the chair that Egon died in, basically go basically being terror dog style, like Dana did in the original Ghostbusters kind of thing. The kids talk to her and go, "Mom, mom," and the ghost responds, "There is no mom, only Zoo," kind of thing in her voice originally. And then the boy, the older son asks again, and then he goes, "There is no Dana, only Zoo." And then you see that she's got red eyes, she's possessed. Like I said, there's more effects in this one than in the original. So you know she's possessed, she's not in the right mind. She starts breathing heavily and then decides, and then the son, Phoebe, gets the PKA meter, and it's got this new cool feature that it's got this like electric chart thing. Kind of, if you ever watched the Extreme Ghostbusters, and when they pulled out the PKA meter, and it's got like the sparks in between, it goes into like that kind of mode. This freaks the terror dog out that's possessed the mom, and the mom goes, "That's it, I'm out of here," jumps out the window and starts running to the mine. At this point, the kids are like absolutely shocked and horrid and don't know what to do, kind of thing, and decide, right, we need to come up with a way to do this. And then they figure out that in order for Gozer to come into this plane, he needs both his gatekeeper and keymaster. He needs the terror dogs. The terror dogs are what makes him able to enter this plane. And I keep saying he, but it's not a he, it's a he, she, whatever. It's whatever it wants to be, as they say in the film. Whatever it chooses to be. It just happens to be a woman in this film, but like in the original. But Gozer needs those two to enter our plane. So they come up with a plan going, right, we're going to go to the mines, we're going to figure a way to capture one of the terror dogs, and then as soon as that's done, that will weaken Gozer, and we can lead him back to the farm, like Egon did in the start of the film, and use the big massive ghost trap that Egon built in the farm to capture Gozer. So they go to the mine, they get all the gear, the jumpsuits and everything, they gear up and everything, and they go to the mine. At this point, you see the two the gatekeeper and the keymaster have met up each other. They've had you know what. If you're a young kid, you don't understand, but as an adult, you understand. They're intimate kind of thing. It's how to open the gate, and everything. And by the time they all get to the mine, the two terror dogs are there. They get transformed into the terror dogs like they do in the original kind of thing. Gozer appears in its new form and everything, and sits on this new form. At this point, Sandor wakes up and goes, "Oh, I've built all this for you. You know, I worship you. I've built we can rule the universe together. Blah blah blah." Gozer just goes, "Yeah, whatever." Literally, the guy has like about 2 seconds of screen time. You kind of realise what his deal is. He worships Gozer. Gozer doesn't give a crap and just literally kills him. Sits on this throne and everything, and basically goes, "Yep, I'm here," and everything. At this point, Phoebe walks up to Gozer. You got the two terror dogs, and starts just talking to Gozer. She starts saying some really, really bad jokes. At this point, Gozer is sitting there going, okay, not giving a damn. And then she finally gets up. Gozer gets up and goes up to Phoebe and goes, "Did you come to be a sacrifice? Did you come to die?" At this point, Phoebe goes, "No, I'm 12. While this is happening, Podcast is remote and controlling the ghost trap that they had previously under one of the terror dogs." And then she goes, and Goes is like saying, "Well, you're going to die. I'm going to kill you." And Phoebe goes, "No, but are you prepared to die?" And just as she says that, Podcast opens the trap and catches the spirit of one of the terror dogs. And then basically they get it. Phoebe runs into the Ecto-1. The brothers there waiting in the Ecto-1. Don't know how they got the Ecto-1 in the mine in the first place, but somehow they do. Get into the mine and they drive out all the way to drive back. At this point, Gozer's spirit is back into the domain because he's lost one of his terror dogs kind of thing. So she's not having a good day and she's pissed. So she chases them and everything. They drive all the way back to the farmhouse with the ghost trap following behind. Finally get the ghost trap into the Ecto-1 kind of thing, and like I said, they've got the ghost trap and everything and whatnot. At this point, Lucky, that's the fourth member, she's already at the farmhouse, setting up everything ready for them to, when they get there, kind of thing, to set this trap, whatnot. So they finally get to the farmhouse. At this point, the mom is also, the mom's no longer a terror dog. She transforms back to her normal self once the ghost is sucked in. So she's in the car again. She's explaining to the kids that this is what's going to happen and everything, which the kids have already figured out at this point. She's the last one to know, basically. And she's like, oh, I understand, it's this and goes, yes, Mom, we know. And then Phoebe gets out the car, shoots the terror dog, gets back in, starts talking. But basically, the kids act all professional, like, this is another day in the week for them now. At this point, they're confident, they know what they're doing. And the mom's just there going, oh my God, this is what the typical parent kind of thing that's just gone, I have no idea what's going on, but my kids seem to know everything that's going on, kind of moment in films like this, which is cool and weird at the same time. But yeah, so they get to the house. Like I said, Gozer appears through the glass and everything, starts walking. Like I said, looks half skeleton, like half Gozer. Basically she's not enough true form. She's basically missing a in and out of dimensions because she's missing a part of herself and can't stick true form, but she's still powerful enough to basically do some damage, and she's creeping closer and closer. At this point, Phoebe and all that have set up the trap, and Lucky comes out with the Ghostbuster pack and starts blasting Gozer. It's not strong enough because Gozer's still strong to basically cause some havoc, but again, it's holding her bay because she's not at full strength. Phoebe tells the mom to activate the traps. She puts the power on and everything, and then obviously it activates the trap, and unfortunately the same thing that happens in the beginning of the film happens again. It short circuits and they're like, oh crap, and the brother who's in the Ecto-1 is trying to use the gunner seat, and that's playing up because you find out that you can mini marshmallows are wrecking the back and everything. Broadcast is having a bad time because he's getting attacked by the mini marshmallow. Basically, they're all getting absolutely annihilated. Phoebe gets her proton pack out and starts shooting and everything and whatnot, and them having a really bad time. Goals are getting closer, because the proton pack isn't that strong on its own. Goals is able to grab the beam and basically it's not affecting as much as it should. And then Goals opens the portal, the cloud gates around, and the purple lightning that turns people into terror dogs starts applying, and she turns Lucky into a terror dog. So she's got, like I said, she's got her two terror dogs again, so she's back at full strength. So it looks all doom and gloom. The kids are getting their asses kicked, basically. They haven't got the power to beat him and everything and whatnot. And like I said, the plan's backfired because they've got nothing. And then all of a sudden, you see a beam shoot, and then you hear the familiar voice of a certain... which one is he? Here we go. Certain character, Mr. Peter Venkman, going, hello, Top Hat. You missed us. And then the screen panels, and you have our boy Ray, Winston, Venkman, full in Ghostbuster gear, going, if you missed us. And they turn their proton backs on and everything. Now that I'm actually, sorry, scratch that. They have a conversation first, and this conversation is absolutely hilarious. Again, this is the spoiler territory, so if you don't like it, why have you been listening for the past 2 takes of this video? Because I've already mentioned spoilers. So they go into it. Ray goes, goals are the goals area, like he does in the original. Goes, I can't remember the exact words. I should. I'm a massive fan. I should know this by now. But basically, he says the same thing in the first one. And goes. I think she remembers. Winston goes, I think she remembers us, kind of thing. And goes. For all time's sake, are you a god? And it turns away. Winston looks at Ray. Peter looks at Ray. Ray takes his time to answer, and Peter goes, "Oh, come on, Ray." And he goes, yes. because you remember in the first one he said no, and he goes, then die, kind of thing, and he goes, yes, and then Peter goes, yes, we're more kind of gods here, kind of thing, and Peter starts doing his Peter thing, going, you left me, we had a thing, I thought we had a connection, we could have ruled the universe together, Peter, take the mic, they use the proton packs, kind of thing. It looks like it's gonna work. They cross the streams. It looks like it's gonna work, but then Goals gets the upper hand and knocks all three of the new old Ghostbusters back down. Like I said, because the mold, they don't get back up very quickly because the packs are heavy. They're mold. They can't do this. Peter tries to improvise by saying, "Oh, I love you, Goals. We had a thing, kind of thing." Vincent tries to zap Goals up, and Goals zaps it away, and he goes, "Nice try there, nice try." And again, it looks all odd, like all things are lost again, and it's all doom and gloom. And then all of a sudden, a beam gets shot, and the screen panels, and it's Phoebe in full Ghostbuster gear with the pack on, everything, and she's absolutely wailing at Gozer, and she's standing the ground, blasting her, true Ghostbuster style. Anyone that says otherwise is an idiot. She's badass, she's kicking butt, and she's blasting Gozer with everything she's got. And we're back. As I was saying, so sorry for the cuts, but Phoebe's blasting Gozer with everything she's got. She's absolutely having a badass moment. And I'm thinking, just as she's being pushed back, the other three Ghostbusters get up, but at this point, Phoebe's still on her own, blasting and everything. And next minute, all you see is a hand holding her next to her, and it's basically like the Star Wars ghosts kind of thing, and it's Egon. Egon is literally standing there. Obviously, it's not the original actor because he's not around anymore. Unfortunately, bless. Egon's always been my favourite character. That's why I had to get this figure. I've got all the originals, and like I said, I bought the new ones today and everything. But this is important, and he's there with Phoebe, blasting away, supporting her, all ghost-like and everything, but he's right there, kind of thing. The other three Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, come together and they all blast together, like in the end of the first film, all blasting. It's funny and it's emotional because at this point I was crying my eyes out because it was so touching seeing Egon, the ghost of Egon there, and then the ball blasting. As them blasting, it's kind of a bit funny moment because Winston realises Egon's ghost is there, so then blasting, and he's turning like, what, okay, and then he's like nodding to the other guys, and the other guys realise, and like I said, they all bust Gozer, kind of thing. They activate the big house trap that Egon set up, and they basically imprison Gozer and the terror dogs, and basically they all get trapped in the traps and everything. They all do that, and then Egon standing there in his ghost form, hugs Phoebe. Doesn't say a word, doesn't speak or anything, but you can tell what he wants to say and everything. Hugs Phoebe, basically looks at the older brother, looks to the original guys. The original guys gather around Egon and apologise for not being there, not believing him and stuff, and wish they had did different things differently. Winston wish he called more and everything. Ventman goes, I knew you'd be here, kind of thing, and everything, and Ray apologises and and whatnot, and they have their heart-to-heart moment, and the Egon spirit is just there nodding and appreciating what, and you can honestly tell that he understands and everything. He turns to the new Ghostbusters, them all having their moment and everything, and then he turns to his daughter, and his daughter gives him a hug, and he's able to hug her and everything, and as he's hugging her, he slowly starts to disappear, and go into the sky, and then he disappears, or magical, like, you know, like spiritual, like, and it goes into the sky, and then it pans up, going for Harold, and that I was already crying before that bit, but as soon as that came up, I was in tears. It was so emotional. I'm not ashamed to say it, and I don't care if anyone makes fun of it. It was amazing. It paid respect to my favourite Ghostbuster, my favourite actor in the franchise as well, and it was just well done. And like I said, I was crying before that bit, and that bit just tipped me. It wasn't my absolute going, whoa, but tears were coming down my face, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Then it goes back to Peter talking to Phoebe, going, "You did good, kid. You know, we're going to go back in the house and have a hot chocolate and everything, and some of us are going to have some warm in them, kind of thing." And like I said, it pans off, and then it basically cuts there, and then the next thing you hear is the Ecto-1 driving in New York City, kind of thing, and then the Ghostbusters themes is playing. The Ghostbusters logo comes up the way it does in the first film, and then it cuts into the credits, and that is pretty much the end of the movie. But there are 2 end scenes to this film, kind of thing. The first one is Dana from the original and Peter in the apartment, and they're playing. You remember the cards that Peter used to play on his students, the wavy wise and the stars, and he's got the electric machine. Well, Dana's got him attached to that, and then they're doing that, and he's getting them all right, and she's like, "I don't know how you do it," and he goes, "You literally shocked your students with this," and Peter admits that, yeah, he used to just do the guys, and she would, every time he said something stupid like that, she would shock him, kind of thing. And she's like, "But how did you figure it out?" And he goes, and she goes, "You marked the cards, didn't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I marked the cards." And she shocks it. They have like a little funny moment. We did realise that she's got a wedding ring on, so either they got married or they're still together. We believe they've got married, but again, they don't really hint at it, but you can clearly see she's wearing a wedding ring. Weird that you don't see Oscar from Ghostbusters 2, the son, but it's just like a moment with them two and everything. And then the next final cutscene at the very end, so stay to the very end, it cuts to a deleted scene from the original where Janine gives Egon a coin because she's scared something's going to happen to him. And she says that she's got this coin, it's from such and such, and she wants to give it to him for good luck. And Egon goes, "I don't believe in that," and kind of stuff, but she gives it to him anyway. It cuts to her in the present time, holding the coin, and she's talking to Winston. And they're in this nice fancy business, that Winston's business that he's made and everything. And Winston's just talking to a guy in that Egon was the brains, Ray was the art, Peter made it cool. And then Janine goes, "Well, what did that make you then?" And Winston says as a joke, "I was the sex appeal," kind of thing, and all that. And he talks about his wife and stuff, and how he wanted to be a hero to his children and stuff, and inspire them and everything. And he goes, "Even though I've made this business with one person and whatnot, I've been able to do this, and it just proves you can do anything," kind of thing. "But even though I've done all this, I'm still a Ghostbuster at art." And then it cuts to him going to the firehouse that's been all abandoned and everything, and he opens the doors and you can see it's all abandoned and everything. And it must be clear that he's bought the firehouse back again, because like I said, it's mentioned previously that they lost it because they couldn't afford the money and the mortgage and everything. So clearly he's bought it back again, and he's reopening in the firehouse, because he opens the doors and the Ecto-1 drives up, and it looks like it's been redone. It looks like he's fixed it and everything. So it drives back in, and as it drives back in, it cuts to the containment unit downstairs. Again, you only see the containment unit, like the red containment unit. You don't see the building around. So like I said, I've got a lot of theories that I can go into, which I might do videos of later. kind of thing. I might do a video of my theories after watching Ghostbusters Afterlife. But it cuts to the containment unit and it's blinking red. And it's blinking heavily red. There's a red light massively blinking, and it just cuts to that, and that's the end of the movie. But again, like I said, if you're upset about the spoilers, it's your own fault. I did warn you. This was spoiler territory and everything, and I've spoiled the entire movie. So, like I said, it's up to you if you carry on watching. And if you have watched it, great, but don't get mad in comments if I've spoiled anything, because you weren't warned. But like I said, it's a great film. If you're a fan of the franchise, you'll love it. Like I said, if you feel like what I've said doesn't tickle your fancy, then fair enough. But again, trust me, if you're a fan, watch it. You'll understand what I'm talking about. I haven't given it full justice with what I'm saying. I've missed bits out and so on and so on. But it's great, and I loved it. And I'm probably going to go and see it again tomorrow or next week. Like I said, I can't wait for this to come out on DVD and Blu-ray. And like I said, I can't wait to watch it over and over again. And like I said, if this is the end and there's nothing after this, then so be it. I'll be happy. If there is more, great. Bring it on. Just keep the way you're doing it. Be respectful. And it'd be fantastic. So that's my review for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Thank you for sticking around and watching. Like I said, I was that much of a fan of the Afterlife that I was going to pick these up eventually anyway, but the movie made me want to pick them up today, and I did. I picked the originals because that's all I could afford at the moment, and I am so picking up the other cast as well. Like I said, I wasn't going to originally because I wasn't sure, but after watching Afterlife, they're being pumped up, and like I said, Phoebe, definitely, like I said, podcast, yeah, they're more getting picked up and everything. So, you know, I'm just going to be adding to my Ghostbusters collection, and that's what I mean. This film made me enjoy the characters, enjoy the new kids and everything, and like I said, it was just a fantastic film. So I definitely recommend if you're a fan and whatnot. And until then, I'll catch you on my next review. I don't know what it will be, but like I said, I'll catch you on my next review. Until then, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave any comments. Like I said, I've got a lot of Ghostbusters theories after watching this. If you have too, please put them in the comments. We can have a chat. Like I said, I've just spent a few hours talking to a friend of mine, and we've spent near enough an hour and a half talking about theories about what does it mean for this, what does it mean for that, and everything. And that's the best thing I love about when you love a franchise and stuff, the theories you have. Sometimes they're not right. I'm glad one of my theories came true in the film. I haven't got the full answer, but I got part of the answer I wanted because I was concerned about the containment unit. And like I said, I was worried we wouldn't know anything about it, but we get that little sneak peek at the end. So now I've got more theories, but it's like I said, but it's stuff like that that makes you want to know more. And like I said, there's a book of this because, like I said, they did the first two in book forms, and I read them, and like I said, there's more details in my backstories. Like I didn't know Peter worked in the circus, kind of thing, growing up, and so if there's a a novel book for this, it is so being bought and read because I need to know more. I want to know more. I want to talk about theories, but that's what I mean. If you see, you can put on the comments. I'll get back to you, and we can have conversations. Follow me on Twitter. Have conversations on that or any other social media kind of thing. But yeah, leave them in the comments and stuff. And if you got your own theories or ideas, please, share them and everything. I would love to have decent Ghostbusters, theories, conversations with anyone that's a massive Ghostbuster fan or anything. And if you got any points or tips in my views, please say. Until then, I will see you next time. Take care and thank you for watching. And this is Set or Night signing off. So goodbye.